It's officially that time of year again, my favorite time of year, when family and friends have time off to get together or even travel to visit their loved ones. It's a season of big holiday meals, gift giving, as well as many family and company parties. Everyone enjoys this time of year, no matter who you are or what your beliefs. However, the name of this entire season has become associated with the observance of one religion in particular. In the Roman Catholic tradition, Christ's Mass is a special Holy Communion performed in celebration of the birth of Christ. However, does this mean Christians have a monopoly on the holiday season? Are Jews, Muslims, Buddhists, Hindus, and people of other faiths not supposed to celebrate Christmas? And what does the symbolism surrounding this holiday season have to do with the birth of Christ? There is obviously two competing types of imagery associated with Christmas, that of the Nativity with Jesus in the manger, surrounded by his mother and the three wise men, in contrast to wreaths, bells, Yule log, candles, Santa Claus, and even the Christmas tree. As a child, I was always intrigued by the ritual of decorating the Christmas tree and what the tree itself stood for. My parents explained the Christmas tree was a tradition left over from earlier pagan cultures before they were absorbed into the Christian faith. But at the time, I had no idea how much of the Christmas holiday was of pagan origin. And interestingly, similar pagan imagery accompanies the next major Christian holiday as well. Easter, which is celebrated in remembrance of Jesus Christ's death and resurrection, encourages children to go on the hunt for Easter eggs that are supposedly hidden by the Easter Bunny. Eggs and rabbits are ancient symbols associated with the pagan understanding of fertility, which celebrates the Earth's rejuvenation during the spring equinox. The term equinox refers to the time of year when day and night are equal in length. Equinox means equal night. As the Earth's equator enters the same plane as the center of the sun, days in the northern hemisphere become longer, providing abundant sunlight for vegetation to grow and in turn for animals to find and store energy, thus making it the optimal time of year to reproduce. However, just as Christ's resurrection falls on the spring equinox, the celebration of his birth coincides with the winter solstice, the time of year when the Earth is tilted on its axis away from the sun, causing the southern hemisphere to experience the longer, hotter days of summer and the northern hemisphere to experience the shorter, colder days of winter. From the perspective of the northern hemisphere, as the planet tilts backward on its axis, the sun appears to be progressively moving further south, that is, until December 22nd, when the Earth reaches its maximum angular range. From December 22nd to the 25th, the Earth holds this position, and then it begins to once again tilt forward, commencing the 6-month journey toward the summer solstice. The 3-day period at the end of the Earth's maximum range of tilt is marked by the sun's appearance of being in a fixed position in the sky. Thus, the term solstice comes from the Latin word meaning sun stands still. As the superstitious pagans observed the sun gradually moving south and the days growing shorter and colder, they believed the sun was departing forever. Therefore, to encourage the sun's return north, the sun gods were worshipped with elaborate rituals and ceremonies, which included the building of great bonfires, as well as decorating evergreen plants such as holly, ivy, and mistletoe. As the winter solstice approached, the sun's movement southward slowed down until it appeared to stop in the sky. Believing the sun god had responded to their prayers and ceremonies, there was a period of unrestrained rejoicing, drinking, and gluttonous feasting as the pagans observed the sun to once again move northward, and a week or so later they were able to determine that the days were indeed growing longer. Thus, a new year had begun. During the early 4th century CE, the Roman Emperor Constantine adopted the Christian religion. Constantine was a brilliant military strategist that expanded his empire across the Mediterranean, establishing the new imperial residence of Constantinople in what today is Istanbul, Turkey. As the emperor seized territory throughout the region, he had the foresight to recognize the Christian religion could be used as a tool to unite an empire spread across many different nations that contained subjects adhering to a variety of customs and beliefs. Therefore, a concerted effort was made to incorporate pagan traditions within the Christian faith by reclassifying pagan holidays as Christian holy days. However, many centuries before anyone even heard the name Jesus Christ, December 25th was the birthday of the gods, the time of year when the days began to lengthen and man was blessed with the regeneration of nature. In the ancient Babylonian world, festivals were held on December 25th to commemorate the victory of the sun. December 25th was also an important day for the worshippers of Mithras, originally the Persian god of light, whose cult became popular throughout the Roman world in the 1st century BC. Therefore, being the last day of the winter solstice, December 25th was celebrated as the birthday of the newly risen sun, bringing hope and redemption from the evil spirits that filled the long, cold winter nights. And it is for this reason many mythological sun gods are depicted as having halos or sun rays surrounding their heads. For example, Utu, the Sumerian sun god; Horus, the Egyptian god of the sun, moon, and sky; Mithras, the Persian god of light; and Helios, the Greek god of the sun. In the year 321 CE, Constantine instructed that Christians and non-Christians should be united in observing the Venerable Day of the Sun, in reference to Sol Invictus, the official sun god of the latter Roman Empire. Therefore, Jesus Christ was presented as the Sun of Righteousness, effectively replacing the Roman sun god. But for you who revere my name, the Sun of Righteousness will rise with healing in its rays, and you will go out and frolic like well-fed calves. Even in the ancient Roman Empire, the celebration of the winter solstice can be traced back to the Roman festival Saturnalia, which honored Saturn, the god of harvest. In order to make Christianity more palatable to the nations conquered by Rome, the Church simply reinterpreted the pagan symbols, customs, and traditions of Saturnalia into a version more compatible with Christianity. In fact, December 25th was officially recognized as the true date of the Nativity by Pope Julius I, who claimed to have found the date in a census document that was brought to Rome by Titus in the 1st century CE. Therefore, the festival of Saturnalia and the birthday of Mithras could be conveniently celebrated alongside the Nativity of Christ. The pagans flocked to the Catholic places of worship, for they were still able to acknowledge their deities, but only under the guise of different names. But it did not matter to the subjects of the Roman Empire whether they worshipped their gods under the names of the Virgin Isis and her godchild Horus, or under their new names of the Virgin Mary and the Christ child Jesus. In addition to manipulating the imagery of the Nativity, the Roman Catholic Church sought to incorporate other pagan symbols into the Christmas celebration, which have been carried down throughout the centuries until present day. The early pagans idolized evergreen plants because of their ability to remain green throughout the winter season when most other forms of vegetation are dormant. Thus, the evergreen is a symbol of immortality, fertility, and sexual potency, which are often brought into the home and set up as idols. Wreaths are also made of evergreens. However, their round shape represents the sun. Hence, the round wreath stands for an eternal, self-renewing sun. Because pagan symbolism was so closely associated with evergreen plants, the early Christian church initially tried to prevent their display. However, just as it Christianized other pagan traditions, the church eventually found a way to project its own symbolic meanings on the use of evergreens. For example, the sharp pointed leaves of holly came to represent Christ's crown of thorns, and the red berries, his blood. Originally, the concept of Santa Claus came from the pagan Egyptian god Bes, a dwarf-like figure that was the protector of little children and mothers in labor. Like many Egyptian gods, the worship of Bes was exported overseas, most notably in the cult of Saint Bessus in northern Italy in the 3rd century CE. A century later, Saint Nicholas was the Catholic bishop of Myra in Asia Minor, who was well known for giving treats to little children. The red suit comes from the fact that Catholic bishops and cardinals in Italy wear red. Santa Claus is also known as Kris Kringle, a corruption of the German Christkindl, or Christ child. Santa Claus is an obvious substitution for God. He is routinely given supernatural powers and divine attributes which only God is supposed to have. Santa is made out to be omniscient.
Johnny, naughty. Very nice. Veronica, very nice.
In your dreams, Playboy. Hmm?
He is made out to be omnipresent. On one night of the year, he visits all the good children in the world and leaves them gifts, apparently being everywhere at the same time. The association of Santa Claus with snow, reindeer, and the North Pole suggests Scandinavian or Norse tradition of the Yuletide season. However, Dutch settlers are responsible for bringing the custom to America, where the mythology has continued to flourish until this day. There are many Christmas customs that have their origins in pagan traditions being practiced long before anyone had even heard the name Jesus Christ, such as the eating of Christmas ham, the hanging of stockings, kissing under the mistletoe, giving of gifts, burning of the Yule log, and the lighting of candles. Therefore, Christmas Day and the imagery that surrounds it are nothing more than the poorly disguised pagan festival of Saturnalia, celebrating the winter solstice. The relabeling of customs and traditions in the effort to assimilate new nations within an empire was a common military tactic. In the ancient world, warfare did not merely stop at the battlefield, but continued to rage on for the control of the beliefs and customs of the conquered peoples as well. As the Holy Roman Empire sought domination over the peoples of Europe, they stole the celebrations of major solar events and relabeled them as Christian holy days, which is perfectly exemplified in the celebration of Easter Sunday. According to Christian belief, Jesus was crucified on Good Friday and resurrected on Easter Sunday. However, Christians fail to celebrate this event on the same day every year, as Easter varies between March 22nd and April 25th. But if Christ died on one particular day and then rose from the dead 2 days later, why should this event be celebrated on different dates every year? It is painfully obvious that Christians have stolen this day from the pagans who were celebrating the spring equinox. Furthermore, even the term Christians use to acknowledge this festival is of pagan origin. The word Easter is derived from the name of the month of April in the Germanic calendar, which in turn was named after Istra, the goddess of dawn in Anglo-Saxon paganism. However, this goddess was only the Germanic version of much older mythologies. The ancient Greeks believed spring was the result of the dawn goddess being released from her prison by the Titan Cronus, who was also known as Saturn in Roman mythology. In fact, the abduction of the dawn goddess and her liberation by a heroic god that slays the dragon responsible for imprisoning her is a common theme in the mythologies of the indigenous Europeans as well as the Rigveda, the ancient text of Hindu mythology. Therefore, it appears everything surrounding the Christian holy days, from their imagery to the very date itself, has been either stolen, manipulated, or fabricated by the early Christian church. Which brings into question what else the church might have manipulated or fabricated for political gain. To any Christians watching this video, it has not been my goal to put down your beliefs or to ruin your holiday season. However, I would like you to be mindful of the spiritual fraud your Christian ancestors perpetrated in the effort to eradicate and or assimilate the traditions of non-Christian peoples. The quote-unquote war on Christmas is not an attempt to denigrate your beliefs, but rather to bring greater awareness of the true holiday Christians are actually celebrating. To any non-Christians watching this video, I would like to urge you to proudly celebrate Christmas and Easter, and do not deprive your children of these very special holidays. Just because Christians have slapped their name on the season does not give them the deed of ownership. The solstice and equinox belong to the earth and all its inhabitants, for these events have existed billions of years before human beings ever walked the planet, and they were celebrated hundreds, even thousands of years before the name of Jesus Christ was ever spoken. Honor the traditions of your sun-worshipping ancestors, and merrily chuckle at the Christians that continue to persist under the guise of baptized paganism. I hope everyone has a safe and happy holiday. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.